Detective Comics, issue 978. James Tynion the fourth writing, Javier Fernandez on the art. Next part of Batman Eternal, and this issue kind of boils down to Batman going to speak with Kate and her father to sort of go, look into why these two soldiers from Colony seemingly went apeshit and killed a bunch of gang members.
Or a bunch of mobsters.
Yeah. And so it's got this awkward thing. Probably my favourite page of the book is Batman arriving at the Kane mansion. So nice big full page spread.
That's pretty good, but my favourite page is actually the second one. I think it's the title page. The layouts of the action sequence for that are so much fun.
Yeah, with Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it's got such a great flow to it.
Then the other side of things, you have Ulysses sort of enacting his plan and kind of turning everything on, and he turns all the colony soldiers by the end into full-on OMAC look.
Yeah.
More importantly, he takes his place as the general, which, since he got brought up, I've been waiting for. So
Shaved his head.
Huh?
Made a little broadcast.
So were you guys aware that he was based off a character from the mid-2000s? From Tim's solo series called The General?
Never read that series.
Okay.
News to me.
I read the start of it, but not.
Yeah, so he came in. He was kind of a heroic figure, kind of like this Captain America type, but he's kind of, anytime there's a war being fought by America, it kind of energizes him. He's as old as the Revolution. At least that's what he claimed. And that was kind of as interesting how he became a thorn in Tim's side. So when they brought him back here in Detective, as Tim's kind of contemporary, just shaded evil, it was cool. And I was like, I wonder if they're ever going to make him the General. And then he shaves his head and announces in grand fashion that he is now the General. And I was like, all right, this is cool.
Yeah, he's a smug little shit. He keeps talking about how easy it is to manipulate Batman and everything else.
I think it is. I think it's just he's just got so many monitors that you can have someone on every monitor, so it's really easy to keep track of everything. I'm really envious of just that amount of monitors. I wish I could have that.
That's how I imagine how Peter lives. He's just got monitors everywhere.
Not enough.
You can never have enough.
But yeah, so the timeline that jumps here. Tim's on crutches. What's that about? Was that post fight with Batman?
I just assumed it was in that fight because he comes stumbling in the cave, and it seems to be just.
Yeah, you're right. He seems fine in the fight, doesn't he?
Because they've brought in the two dudes. They're still lying on the floor as if they've just grabbed them and brought them in. So it has to be right after. So.
I just the way that they're crutches. It's not like it's his sticks that he's using on to like I'm so tired. They're full on structural crutches. So I don't know what was that. That was a weird choice.
So the thing is, obviously, he's not got a bandage or a cast or anything on his leg, so it looks like it's just a sprain, and he's just can keep the load off.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes.
There's a sweet moment actually when Cass shows up, and I like how he's like, "How did you even get in here? I've got everything on lockdown." She just kind of shrugs at him, like, "Eh."
Yeah.
That's my one issue with this issue is the art is kind of spotty, and usually I like this artist. He did some Nightwing and it was fine, but like his Cass, not so much.
Like I say, I really liked all the stuff in the Kane Mansion. Like when he was the entrance, and then when Batman was walking around before he spoke to them, and most of that stuff I liked. It was quite nice and atmospheric, nice and gothic.
It has a lot of mood, but I don't think he's the best on the faces. There was a weird thing when Cass came, and I was like, where are her arms, like her hands? Because it looks at first like they're in the front of the hoodie, but then I'm not sure if they're just behind her back. Like I can't tell. It seems to be just flicking back and forth, and I'm not sure if it's just a problem with the art.
There's also a weird thing with one of Tim's expressions. I'm gonna find the page where he's talking. He's like animated, but it doesn't like he has a look of concern on his face. It's the right after.
Oh yeah, computer rerun the blood toxicity. Look for the trace of nanotech. That one.
Yeah.
He looks like he's screaming it.
But above it too is he looks like he's concerned, but the dialogue isn't concerned. He's not till the next panel.
Yeah, it's actually he's getting a realization, but he looks horrible.
Yeah, exactly. Versus so there was just some spottiness there, but I think the action's really well done. The OMAC transformations are horrifying, and that's what you want out of that.
Definitely.
So, but I want more on the Kane family. Like they seemed so odd, and that comes from like the Waynes, who are pretty well put together from what we know, you know. So this completely different, and that's why Bruce's mom, that's why Martha went to Thomas, so it was so different than her family. I want more of that, and it. I don't know if we're ever going to get that because Tynion seems to be done with Batman for right now.
Yeah, but wrapping up his run. I did like Tim offering to do more Shakespeare with Cass. Like that was kind of a nice little.
It was
little
nice,
moment.
yeah.
Actually, I was reading. I read the Batgirl and the Birds of Prey arc with all the, when all the men in Gotham get sick and the birds team up with all the Bat characters, and then Wonder Woman shows up. And one of the sweetest things in that story is Cass is one of is in that story as well, and she's actually concerned about Clayface during that. That Clayface is like maybe dying, and I'm like, oh man, this makes me feel really bad. Reading this now, like in hindsight, that moment it particularly stuck out to me. I just thought of it because we're talking about Cass running Shakespeare lens. I like that. Tim's like, well, you were doing that for him because he was the one who wanted to audition for things, but he clearly sees that it meant something to her as well. He's offering, and I kind of like that. It was kind of a sweet moment, especially since Cass and Tim haven't really had that much interaction. I don't think.
No, Tim was gone for most of Cass's development.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. It almost feels like he's been going, okay, what's everyone been up to while I've been gone? Oh, you've been doing Shakespeare. Okay.
Well, that's what I mean. Tim, I like the Tynion's take on him is he's so wrapped up in his own stuff, he's forgotten how to relate to people. Because he's had this issue with Spoiler, and now he's having it with Cass. It's coming up against Bruce, too.
Yeah.
So I like that that's the thread going through here.
And of course, the big cliffhanger at the end is that the OMAC project also affects him, and he starts to turn into an OMAC soldier.
Yeah.
And I guess Tim Drake's dead. We'll never see him again.
Shut up.
This gives me excitement for the Cass fight because I want to see Cass own him.
Cass vs. OMAC is going to be fantastic.
Oh yeah. So because we know Tim's an accomplished fighter, but he's not,
No.
Kane.
Yeah.
He's not, but once you add in the OMAC stuff, that's going to...
Yeah, but so now she's going to be able to cut loose. It's kind of like I like when Superman can cut loose on like a big alien villain. That he knows that would normally kill a human adversary, but he can, like when he fights Darkseid or Mongol, I kind of like that because you see what he can do. I feel like we're going to get the same out of Cass. She's going to have all this pent-up rage from Clayface, and she can take it out on Tim as an OMAC.
Well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking. I really do like the page layouts in this book. There's a lot of a really nice flow and a lot of the eye panels that really work out nicely.
Yeah, the page where he's turning everything on at first, there's like a sort of eye layout to everything that kind of matches the OMAC symbol, and it all works really well. Like I say, I think the complaints about the faces are valid, but I think some of the landscapes and the mood of stuff was really
definitely.
The mood outweighs it for sure. Like it's just a few times where it takes me out of the moment.
Yeah. That's always my only drawback because I really enjoyed this issue. After a couple that felt like we were kind of just dancing in circles. In a holding pattern. It pushed it forward because even all the Kane stuff with her and what it means, because you have the family motto, which comes back around because I just looked that up. It got brought up in the early issues. I think it was 935 that the family motto is "We stand together," and her and Bruce have that conversation in this one about what standing together actually means. And so I like that it's differentiating them, and they maybe could coexist, even though that might drive Bruce nuts. The thought's there. And it's almost what I think Batman Eternal was supposed to be in that run. But I never finished because the art got so out of hand.
Yeah, that got rough.